Hey everyone, Greta here. Today I'll be talking about when doing plank pose, where should the eye of the elbows be facing? It is a question that is so detailed. But then this position where the eyes of the elbows are facing actually determines a whole lot. It determines the shoulder position. So if you're in a plank, a lot of times when you're not really think about it too much. I mean, plank is a very simple shape. So hands on the floor, legs stick out, here you go. And if you're not really thinking about it too much, normally the eye of the elbow would be facing in a little bit. Then is that right? Well, you see, when the eye of the elbows are turning in towards one another, the shoulder position is more like an internal shoulder rotation. The shoulders come closer to the ears. And that's a very natural thing to happen is because once we do this, then naturally the upper traps would kick into place and start working like crazy because the upper traps, that's what they love to do. They love to work. So when we're doing this, again, so when it's so easy to turn the elbows in, shoulders come close, and you feel like you're kind of holding yourself up. It's harder to push and feel the upper back pressing up to the sky. And when you're doing this, when the eye of the elbow are turning into one another, then the serratus anterior and your lats are not really working as much. And those muscles are the shoulder stabilizers. And also, usually when we do plank, we rarely hold the plank on its own. It's more like a transition, especially when you're doing vinyasa. So from a plank, we naturally will go into a chaturanga or maybe knees, chest, chin. But mind you, when you're doing knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, then the elbows should be facing to the back, right? Especially when you're doing knees, chest, chin, you don't do that, right? Because you just cannot come down. You have to do this in order for the chin to come down towards the mat. Then for chaturanga, we would want to have the elbows pointing to the back because again, that will help to activate the serratus anterior and the lats and all those muscles just to keep the shoulders a little bit more stable. And also that is kind of like a prep pose for the arm balances like crow, K1, K2, side crow and all the stuff, and even tripod headstand. So if your elbows, the eye of the elbows are facing in, when you don't change your shoulder position, when you bend out in a chaturanga, you do this. So again, it's so much in your traps and nothing is really happening here. So the next time when you do plank pose, think, what is happening next? Am I going to drop my knees, chest and chin on the floor? Am I going to do a chaturanga? Or when you're doing plank pose, think, are you there just to hold the shape for the sake of holding it? Or you're planning to build more strength in the shoulders that one day your arm balance will be an inversion, will be more stable. And also, when you hold plank long enough, when the eye of the elbows are facing in, do you feel like the shoulders really coming close? And then after the practice, you feel like this part of the body feels like really tight and jammed together? If that is the case, the next time when you do plank, consider turning the eye of the elbow forward. So once you do this, shoulder position becomes external rotation, and you would instantly feel that, oh, there's more space between the shoulders and the ears, and you can actually feel these guys working, the side ribs, the muscles in the side ribs working, and it's easier to kind of activate your chest muscles, which are the pecs. And when you go down, be it a chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, you don't have to suddenly turn the elbows to come down. And a lot of times for knees, chest, chin, it's easier to turn the elbows because your knees are on the floor. But for chaturanga, it's much harder to turn because it's a lot of weight that the arms have to carry. So often you see a lot of people when they do chaturanga, they do this instead of this, be it half or full. If you think that plank is quite hard to turn my elbows, then you can consider doing maybe a half plank or even a tabletop. Tabletop is the easiest because your knees are right underneath your hips, so your joints are stacked on top of one another nicely, less muscular strength. You can check, oh, can I turn my elbows like that? If you can, then maybe walk your knees back a little bit behind your hips so you come into a half plank and see if you can hold this in place. If this is also okay, tuck the toes under and just lift your knees up without piking. Just a very small detail, but very, very big of a difference in terms of your foundation, how you build your foundation. That's it for my sharing for today. Hope it's helpful to you, especially for those of us who want to build a bit more strength and awareness in the entire body, particularly the shoulders, and also in the entire practice. So like my video, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and practice with me. I teach online and in person. You can drop me a message, DM me either Facebook or IG, and I'll get back to you ASAP. Take it easy. Bye-bye.